You are fighting a war against artificial intelligence, and you are already losing. Not because you are weak, not because you are unskilled, but because you are fighting a phantom. You wake up with a tight chest. You scroll through endless feeds of new algorithms, new models, new automation, and you feel a creeping, suffocating dread. You call it AI anxiety. You believe a cold, unfeeling intelligence is marching across the horizon to render you obsolete, to steal your livelihood, and to erase your purpose. You are reacting like a terrified recruit before his first battle, entirely convinced you are outmatched. Stop. Drop your weapons. As a commander who has navigated the bloodiest valleys and the steepest mountains, I tell you, you are completely misreading the battlefield. The exhaustion you feel right now is the heavy tax of fighting an enemy that does not exist.
Consider the man who draws his blade to cut the wind. He swings with all his might. He uses perfect technique. He sweats, he screams, he exhausts his muscles until he collapses to his knees in the dirt. Has he injured the wind? Of course not. He has only destroyed himself. This is what you are doing when you position yourself in opposition to artificial intelligence. You perceive it as an enemy commander with malicious intent to conquer you. But AI has no intent. It has no malice. It has no desire for conquest. It simply flows. To treat this technology as an enemy is the first and most fatal strategic error you can make. When you view it as a hostile force, your mind instantly narrows. You activate the primal instinct to strike or flee. Panic sets in. Creativity dies. You become rigid, and in the art of war, rigidity is death. You must immediately stop fighting the inevitable progression of this technology. In my teachings, I defined the 5 constant factors that govern the art of war. The moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline. Let us speak of earth. Let us speak of the terrain. The terrain comprises the distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes. Artificial intelligence is not the opposing army. Artificial intelligence is the new Earth. It is the new terrain. When a sudden earthquake alters the path of a river, or when a massive landslide creates a new valley, a wise general does not declare war on the dirt and the stone. He studies the new landscape. He learns where the ground is stable and where it is treacherous. He asks himself, how can I use this new mountain to hide my troops? How can I use this new river to supply my camp? Your anxiety comes from trying to hold on to the map of the old world. Have you ever watched a foolish man try to stop the tide with his bare hands? Or seen a terrified village attempt to build a fragile wooden wall to hold back a raging flood? It is a tragic sight, born of desperation and a severe lack of strategic vision. This is the Luddite trap. Throughout human history, whenever the terrain has shifted radically, whether through the forging of iron, the printing of words, or the harnessing of steam, there have always been those who try to build walls against the tide. They are inevitably washed away. Do not become a casualty of your own stubbornness. To fight the terrain is to guarantee your own defeat. The river that drowns the careless traveler is the exact same river that mills the grain and waters the crops of the wise farmer. AI is a torrential river of generation. If you scream at it to stop, it will simply flow over you. But if you build a mill, if you harness its current, it will become the engine of your prosperity. How do we forge an alliance with that which does not breathe? By understanding the concept of she, the strategic position, the potential energy of the situation. A massive boulder resting at the top of a steep hill possesses immense she. The wise commander does not push the boulder up the hill. He positions himself so that a mere tap sends the boulder crushing down upon his obstacles. AI is the greatest boulder at the top of the highest hill humanity has ever discovered. A strategic alliance means positioning yourself behind the boulder. Stop trying to compete with the machine on its terms. You cannot outcalculate it. You cannot outread it. You cannot match its speed or volume. So do not try. You must let the AI handle the brute force, the massive data sorting, the generation of base materials. The alliance is formed when you stop competing and begin directing. When you align your human intent with the machine's immense capability, you create a force multiplier that makes you virtually unstoppable. In every campaign, finding the high ground is paramount. He who occupies the high ground forces his opponent to fight a brutal uphill battle. So I ask you, what is the high ground in the valley of silicon and neural networks? Where do you stand so that the machine cannot reach you? The high ground is your humanity. The machine operates strictly in the realm of the known, the predictable, the patterns of the past. It synthesizes what has already been done. But the high ground belongs to emotional intelligence. It belongs to the ability to sit with a grieving friend, to look into a client's eyes and understand the fear behind their words, to make a profoundly ethical choice when all the data points the wrong way. If your job, your business, or your self-worth is built entirely on the planes of computation, you will be overrun. You must immediately retreat to the high ground. Cultivate deep relationships. Nurture your empathy. That is your impenetrable fortress.
There is a famous stratagem known as the empty fortress. When faced with an overwhelming force, one does not barricade the doors and show fear. One opens the gates, sits upon the wall, and plays music. It completely confounds the enemy, who expects predictable resistance. While AI is not your enemy, this strategy applies beautifully to how you must adapt. AI thrives on pattern. It is the ultimate engine of predictability. It knows exactly what the average person will do, say, or write. Therefore, to maintain your sovereignty, you must become beautifully unpredictable. Do not fight AI on the planes of standard formulas. Let the AI write the standard corporate email. Let the AI generate the basic quarterly report. Leave those gates wide open. But you must be the one sitting on the wall, playing a melody no machine could ever compose. Inject profound originality, quirky insight, and deeply personal storytelling into your work. When you do what the machine cannot predict, you become invaluable.
We must utterly strip away the mysticism you have wrapped around this technology. You speak of it in your media as if it is a god coming to save you or a demon coming to destroy you. It is neither. The tools of war and the tools of civilization are entirely neutral. A finely crafted Jian sword does not choose its master, nor does it decide whether it will be used to defend a village or oppress the innocent. A plow does not care whose field it tills. The crossbow, the chariot, the algorithm, they are exactly the same. Your anxiety is giving this tool a personality it simply does not possess. You are projecting your own deep fears of inadequacy onto lines of code. It sits there, an immense reservoir of potential energy, waiting for a human mind to give it a directive. It requires your prompts. Without you, it is merely a dormant library. Once you truly accept the neutrality of the tool, your fear evaporates. You take your power back.
I have written, victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Think deeply on this. The anxious mind is the mind of the defeated warrior.
You are panicking about the future, scrambling blindly, reading endless terrifying headlines, and reacting purely out of panic. You are running onto the battlefield naked, without armor and without a plan. The victorious warrior prepares in absolute silence. To conquer AI anxiety, you must win the war before you step out of your door. Dedicate time each day to learning this new terrain. Understand the capabilities and the hard limitations of these new models. Play with them. Experiment with them in the privacy of your own study. Strip away the intimidating mystery through direct, calm, daily interaction. When you replace panicked speculation with calm, structured preparation, the anxiety dissolves. You walk into your workplace not as a victim of change, but as a confident commander.
I have taught that military tactics are like unto water, for water in its natural course runs away from high places and hastens downwards. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The rigid mind will shatter in this new era. If you insist that your work must be done the exact way it was done 5 years ago, you are a brittle, dry branch that will be snapped by the winds of change. You must become water. AI is an incredibly dynamic, constantly shifting terrain. Models will update, capabilities will expand, entirely new paradigms will emerge every few months. You cannot anchor yourself to one specific software or one specific workflow. You must cultivate a mindset of relentless, fluid adaptability. Flow around the obstacles. When a new technology makes an old skill obsolete, do not weep for the old skill. Flow into the new void. The warrior who flows like water cannot be defeated.
Therefore, I say to you, sheathe your sword. Unclench your fists. The war is over, my friend, because there never was a war to begin with. Your anxiety was simply the growing pains of a mind expanding to comprehend a vastly larger, more powerful world. The terrain has changed, yes. It is grander, stranger, and more complex than anything my generation could have ever dreamed of. But the fundamental rules of strategy, of human nature, of deep value and true wisdom, these remain eternal. Do not fight the terrain. Form your strategic alliance. Let the machines do the heavy lifting of the mind, just as the beasts of burden once did the heavy lifting of the body. Elevate yourself to the high ground of empathy, pure creativity, and human connection. Be unpredictable. Be fluid. The future does belong to those who master these new tools. But far more importantly, it belongs to those who master themselves. Master your terrain.